Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to our waning coverage of the Lonestar Paracon right here in Schertz, Texas. We have the great joy of being joined by Shah Martinez. He is a popular personality on shows ranging from Ghost Lab to Paranormal State, UFO Hunters, and so many more. How long have you been in the world of paranormal research, Shah?
Oh, gosh. Let's see, I got in it in 6 or 7, I think. 7, maybe?
Wow.
And then all the way through 2014, I was like filming actively through different shows. So like,
Okay.
It's like 7 years.
Wow. And were you a paranormal investigator before the shows, or were you brought in to the shows?
So I was brought
as
in
a
actually,
cast member?
No, I wasn't a cast member. I was an audio engineer.
Oh, okay. So you're like me.
Yeah.
Like that's what I am. That's my bread and butter is audio. And
Yeah.
things like that. So
it's an interesting one coming into it from the audio perspective is in that I end up, so normally you work in film and television, you're behind the scenes, you're completely disassociated, especially in reality television. You're disassociated from the cast.
Yeah.
You're not interacting, and it's almost your job to not interact. But by virtue of simply being an audio engineer, being so intrinsically tied to EVPs, and often being a provider of evidence that could corroborate or not corroborate what's going on set, I ended up kind of being drawn in and involved in a lot of the stuff that I shot. So it was really cool to kind of, doing paranormal stuff. My job took like a paradigm shift where I became like an active participant in like content that made the show.
Now, I'm going to ask you the same exact question that I asked Benjamin earlier whenever I had him here. Were you a believer prior to being involved with the show, and are you a believer now?
Okay, yeah. So I'm glad you asked that. So when I first joined this show, these shows, absolutely not.
Really?
And when I first joined the show,
zero belief in. Hey, don't get me.
No,
I'm a producer for a living, man. I am emotionally disconnected from the button I push. I will go work for PETA one day and go work for the rival the next, as long as the check clears, man. Like, you have to be agnostic somewhat in this industry,
I hear you. And so I took that approach. And it's funny enough, I shouldn't have not been a believer because I had an experience, prior to getting on my first paranormal show. But the scientific part of my brain would love to just think like, oh, that probably, even during the first season of the show, like the first, several episodes we would shoot, my logical scientific side of my brain would try to like reason away, oh, this probably happened because the light was refracting from something, and I would always come up with some reason why this was happening. And then eventually I experienced so much so much activity that could not be explained. There's no rational way to explain it, or like on camera I've had like physical phenomena happen to me. I was like, I can't rationalize this. I can't say that this was light refract, like something pushed my shoulder down. Or I saw a physical apparition go and pass the door, and then I thought, it's not just me, like other people, I was quiet about it, and everyone else's mouth is agape. Clearly they saw it too. So I can't there's no scientific rationale behind that. So so I had to be a believer.
So you eventually hit a wall where it was like, I can't jump the gap anymore. There has to be something here.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise, it's just the point of like, how much footage can we ruin? Like, do we really ruin that much footage?
Yeah.
Is there that much that's being lost to anomaly that's just,
and then at that point you might as well just not even be in it at all, because you're just going to, dismiss any and everything.
Sure.
A ghost can literally be coming up and like, dancing with me in my face and mushing me around. I'm like, oh, this is not real, as I'm like, getting pock marks. This isn't real. Oh, hey, that's my eye.
And that's a very interesting way to put that, because eventually, it becomes a fact of it's got to be fact. There's got to be something to this, because once again, you live your life with your equipment. Like, your equipment better than most people.
Yes.
Typically as an engineer. Mm-hmm. So it's the fact of like, I know I did this right. I know I used my equipment right. I know that every protocol was followed, and for some reason this still happened.
Yeah. So I love that you said that. Well, one, yes, your equipment's like a family member.
Yeah.
When you're an audio engineer,
it gets me, man.
My rig is my other me.
Yeah.
But there would be episodes that we would film, like say on Paranormal State. We were on Indian land, and they were like, you have to be careful on this Indian land. If the spirits don't like people, a lot of people filming here. They feel it's disrespectful, and if they don't want you to film here, you won't.
They ain't gonna let you.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. I respect your belief and your thoughts on the matter, but like I have a job to do.
Yeah.
We go to roll. My mixer, the front end of it just completely drops, dies. The microphone, the industrial tape that I normally use refuses to stick. I'm like doing 80 strips of the tape to get the lavalier on him, and just it's falling no matter what. The front end of my gear is down. All the batteries are just juicing out, and like
the batteries juicing out is what I have had that happen with me. I've been on maybe 5-6 paranormal investigations in my entire life, and the first one that I ever went on, I literally witnessed my own batteries that I went out and bought go dead.
Mm-hmm.
Go dead.
Yep.
And I mean, like, this was like old school tape recorder, like what your doctor used. It was rolling, and it just stopped. And it was like, okay, maybe it got hung up. And no, batteries died. Put the second pair in. Same, went through a 12-pack. And it's like, this is impossible.
There's no way.
Even if it was the whole 12-pack, it's impossible.
It's impossible. There's no way. There's no way quality control at the battery company dropped the ball on this many batteries
in a row. No way
Duracell
let 12 of them land in the same pack. It does not work that way.
Have you worked with psychics? Miking them up.
Yeah.
It was so funny, like on Paranormal State, like one of the first episodes actually that we had Chip Coffee on.
Yep.
The name, we call that episode The Name. And just as he was about to kind of divine or intuit this name that was going to rattle, Ryan Buell, the leader of, Paranormal State PRS, like was going to rattle his world, he's like divining this word, kind of knew he was having a psychic insight because I was, I have a remote monitor for my batteries.
Sure.
And his remote, his transmitter pack, the batteries just started going right as he's like pulling the name. And I had to run in with the boom mic because his lavalier is about to die. So I'm like, oh my God, he's about to do something profound. It looks like you could tell, and he's like writing down his name, and he's like sliding in. I was like, I got to get this audio. And I'm like rushing to get but it's like, whenever he would have like a real profound moment, these batteries would just,
wow.
I'm like, whoa.
Wow. I will say one of my favorite conferences that I attend and cover every year is the International Remote Viewing Association. And their conference in Virginia a couple years ago. You can watch the footage, and at the bottom it'll say like psychic interference ? Literally in the only interview that I have where the audio is garbled and messed up on record and backup record. And they were doing an outbounder where everybody in the room literally behind us is focusing on a target somewhere else.
Bam.
And it was like,
bam.
I can't not put this on you. I'm going to put a question mark because I'm not going to say it's what it is.
No.
But as an engineer who knows my gear, trusts my gear, I travel with it. Like, I know it backward and forward.
And as an engineer,
it ain't just happening on all three of my records.
As an engineer, you have your audio, you have your backup audio, you have your backups audio.
1, 2, 3.
And you do it on autopilot. You don't it's not like, oh, maybe I missed it, I forgot something. No. You don't forget. This is stuff you do in your sleep.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
And so, when people try to, have you thought about this? Like, yes, I have thought about all that.
Believe me, I beat myself up over 8 drinks that night thinking about what I did. And that's just it. There are things that happen sometimes. And to hear not only you, but Ben say that you're different after your experience working on these shows, that you now look at these things with a totally different light and lens than you ever did before. That's fascinating. What is, I guess, what you would say, capital E evidence, the biggest thing that you think you've captured over time that, like, whenever somebody's like, no way, you're like, I got to show you this?
I wish it was something I could show them because it didn't end up making the cut. Well, one, on Paranormal State, one of the episodes, a coal miner was like this dad haunting the house, or whatever. And it ended up being a dad haunting the house. Like that was like the end of the episode. Spoiler alert. From like 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
It's already been spoiled, folks, okay? Don't blame him.
But like, so like a lot of times, in order, when you're doing reality kind of stuff, you want things to feel natural. So you try to stay as out of the way as possible. As an audio guy, I want to boom everything for better audio, but as a reality person who wants the things to play out naturally, I need to kind of stay behind.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'll tuck away, especially during dead time when they're trying to commune with spirits and stuff. So I was on the other side of a house, completely isolated from everybody.
Try to let them forget they have a microphone on.
Exactly. Be natural.
Yeah.
Like, just be they start to be more natural. And so I tucked away to let them be natural, do their thing. I'm on a complete opposite side of the house, in a stairway, sitting down, mixing. And a hand pushes my shoulder down hard. And I thought it was one of the camera operators who maybe got stuck on that side of the house that needs to hurry up and go film something on desktop.
Get out of my way.
So I'm annoyed. Like, that's rude. Don't just push my shoulder down. Just say, excuse me, and I'll move out of the way. So I'm like, you can see me. I'm on surveillance camera, mind you. And you can see me turn around, and I'm, like, annoyed. I go from annoyed to nobody being there and looking confused, and then straight up, like, baffled. And like then kind of freaked out. So it goes from like annoyed, confused, baffled, and then freaked out. And then I got on the walkie and like, dude, some hand just pushed my shoulder down like super hard. And they look back at the footage and you just see me mixing and you see my shoulder drop. And then they went to talk to me on camera, but like because of it was on A&E and they wanted to focus less on breaking the fourth wall. It didn't make the cut.
Sure.
So like the fans will never get to see that part of it. But it's like there was, even though we got phenomenal evidence on that episode, that was like a groundbreaking moment for me because it like physically
something interacted with you.
Me. Yeah.
With you. And that's just it. When something like that happens, it harkens you in a different way, not only to pay attention, but to keep paying attention and to keep looking. So, the fact that how early on was that for you?
Oh gosh. I think this was season this was season 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is season 2. I'd already been actively involved because in season 1 we did exorcism episodes and stuff that were like...
That's thick.
Intense.
That's thick.
Intense, like undeniably intense. Like they had to cut so much out of it because it was so intense that no one would believe it.
Yeah.
If they didn't cut it out. They were like, they would think they wouldn't... It would ruin our credibility. This is so amazing that it would ruin our credibility, even though it's absolutely 100% real.
Yeah. Yeah, precisely. And we were talking about that a while ago with Benjamin, just the idea of when something like that happens and you're a part of it, how that changes your stasis in the world and the universe around you, even your understanding of your place.
You feel small.
In the world around you.
You're like,
feel real small.
I'm really tiny. There's so much more I don't know about happening right around me that I can't see.
Yeah, exactly. We've got you for about another 5 minutes or so. You're getting ready to go in and speak right now. If you were talking to a group of audio engineer students, video engineering students, and they wanted to pursue this path, let's just say, because it's definitely an emerging path in the field, not just reality TV-wise, but documentary-wise, things like that. There's a huge growth in this industry of production, in this type of content. What advice would you give them, Shah?
I mean, I would definitely take, because the industry is shifting a little bit.
Yeah.
I would learn more holistically about production.
Sure.
So don't just, don't maybe hyper specialize in audio. Be really well versed, but understand camera, storytelling.
Yeah.
And then try to attach yourself to projects that you love. One of the things I loved waking up in the morning knowing I was going into a paranormal show, because I was going to see something cool and exciting. So love what you do. Make sure you love it.
Yeah.
Make sure you learn about the craft and art of storytelling, because even if you're an audio engineer, being a good storyteller and an audio engineer, you're going to want to mic things or make things sound different, or a certain way. You're going to get creative with things, maybe get some sound effects to provide post-production. So just love what you do, love the craft, understand the craft, and always evolve.
Yeah, that is a huge point. Like my world has moved from rock and roll into the world of corporate AV now. The day I found corporate AV, I ran arms wide open. I tell people all the time, because I still work with drunks. They're just corporate drunks. They don't break things or get into fights, things like that. But it's the fact of I love it. I love it every day. And the reason I do is because I'm not just audio now. Like, I spent years in broadcast video, and when people found out that dirty secret from an audio guy, like, rapidly the digital world came on me, and now I can barely run a digital mixer. You sit me in front of a 64-track analog, I'll wreck it all day. Like, 16-channel digital, it's like, layers really fast, huh? Okay, this is going to be interesting. But having that multifaceted capacity makes a large career difference. And yes, lets you see that facet of what you're doing in a different light. Yep. You know, it lets you see what you're doing in audio in a different reason than just capturing audio for capturing audio. Like you said, are you trying to tell a cinematic story or a personal story? The way you're going to mix that audio, the way you record it, sounds different for those different things.
And the way you mic them sometimes might be a little different. You know, you might want to get creative with the audio. There's a lot to it that you think about. But just at the end of the day, whatever it is that you do, love what you do. And, you know, I will impart this on anyone. 70% of our life is spent working. Do you want to have loved what you did in that 70% of your life?
That's right.
Or not?
Yeah. Or do you want to regret it for 8 hours while you're asleep? Because you got to think about that. And I want to thank you not only for your years of production in a very drilled down niche topic of production, but also shedding light on that world for other people, because it's something that I think, especially shows like Ghost Lab, one of the first ones to really come out in the world of paranormal. I think that those things are really, really important to opening this topic to a new generation of people, and making an older generation a little bit more accessible to what's there. Whereas they may be hesitant to come to an event like this, they aren't hesitant to watch something on television.
That's
in
awesome.
the comfort of their home. So the fact that you have helped enlighten generations worth of people to this topic, thank you for that. Thank you for your hard work in that, because it's something that we as producers all too often forget is our long-lasting, long-term impact on something. So thank you
I appreciate
for all your hard work in that. Before we let you go, let everybody know where they can go to find your work, where they can go to find any upcoming work that you have coming up that you're allowed to share.
Actually, I did transition careers, out of that. I moved into the tech world.
All right.
I've been doing tech for about 10 years.
Cool.
And now I lead AI automation solutions company called Luminate. And so basically, the way it would help people in paranormal world, if you're trying to put out your brand, or if you're trying to put out your podcast or broadcast, we can automate your whole entire social media content productions. We can automate your lead generations, your intake, customer outreach, and it'll sound very personal. Like it'll generate all the emails, it'll do all the research for you, and it'll start doing all the mundane stuff. So
awesome.
You handle the mundane stuff, so you can get to the good stuff of doing your investigation.
Yeah,
and
you can do the things you like doing instead of the things that are laborious to do, so you can do what you like doing.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for your time once again. While you are online checking out everything from Shah Martinez and Luminate right there. Stop on by Curious Realm. CuriousRealm.com is where you can like, follow, subscribe. That is where you can listen to the podcast, where you can find all of our episodes live from locations like the Lonestar Paracon. When we come back from this quick break, folks, we will be joined with our last couple of guests during our waning coverage. Stay tuned for continuing coverage of the Lonestar Paracon from Schertz, Texas, right after this, everybody.
The key to good science is good research. At the heart of good research is a good data set. With the field observation and encounter log from Curious Research, you can easily keep track of your investigative information all in one place, making it easier to review cases and readily see comparisons and contrasts between them. Whether out in the woods squatching, in a back room gathering EVPs, or using high-tech gear to track UFO, UAP activity, this easy-to-carry, pocket-sized scientific data log is the perfect companion for any field researcher. You can find your copy of the Curious Research Field Observation and Encounter Log at Amazon.com or visit the official Curious Realm store at curiousrealm.com/store to reserve your copy for yourself, your family, or a mind that you want to open. That website again is curiousrealm.com/store.